If your basis, which is your mental state, mental health, if it's not where you optimally need it to function as the best version of you, then what you feel, what you think, the choices that you make, and the way that your life, your personal life, and your business life unfold, it's just not going to satisfy you as a human being. And because our time here is limited, you don't really want to have a suboptimal life and business experience. Would you agree?
Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Move, Crush, Count. This is a podcast where we learn how achievers are changing business growth strategies. The Move, Crush, Count podcast specializes in delivering content from experts that are going to help your business grow by interviewing experts on how to discover how you can strike back against a world that's trying to marginalize and commoditize you. So if you really desire to differentiate yourself in your business and you want to learn from experts, then this is the podcast for you. The title of today's interview is Mental Wellbeing Tips that will 3x your revenue, smash limitations, and create your greatest reality. So normally I say, wow, I'm all excited about a topic and this and that, but I feel like because of kind of where we're going to start, not where we're going to end, but where we're going to start in terms of like depression and stuff, excited is the wrong word. I am looking forward to this interview because I feel like it can help a lot of people, and I think it's very meaningful. So, once again, I'm your host. I'm Scott Joseph. We're talking with mental well-being expert J.H. Tepley.
Hello there.
Hello, and you're across the ocean, correct?
That's right. I'm in the UK. Yes, London.
Nice. So we're going to talk a little bit about your new book, The Unbreakable Entrepreneur. I feel like this is extremely timely right now. And I don't want to, and we'll get into all this, but I just kind of want to set the stage a little bit. I don't want to downplay, but we are about to enter a potential downturn. I hate using the word of recession. I think it's already been categorized that. And I would have to assume in those times, with my uneducated guess on this topic, that it becomes even more important. Is that accurate?
Of course, yes, of course, because, your business is an extension of you. So, what they say, you don't have business problems, you have personal problems reflected in your business. And so if you can't perform at the top of your ability, your business can't either.
Yeah. And so you're a well-known expert on all this. You're going to talk to us a little about becoming a more powerful and elite version of ourselves, which in the end, if a business leader or business owner can do that, it will propel their business forward, help them be better with their teams, the whole thing. And so I'm excited about that. First, I want to get into a little bit of your background because I want to make sure everybody knows where you're coming from, your experience, your knowledge. And then we'll jump into the specifics that you teach in the book that can help us get through some of this and level up. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, a few words about me. For those who haven't come across my work, I'm an international speaker, an author, and a spiritual mentor. I don't particularly like the spiritual kind of word, but this is the only thing that we use when it comes to talking about what lies beyond the physical reality, which of course we're not just our bodies, we're our minds and our souls as well. And my journey started a very long time ago. I've been both researching and teaching for about 20 years now, all over the world. And in my research, I've discovered that there was a huge need for people to really understand themselves on a deeper level so that they can function more efficiently. Because I know that many teachers or gurus make it sound really wishy-washy and out there, but really what it comes down to, imagine reality as a game, like a computer game. And so imagine playing this game, but nobody told you any shortcuts or even any rules. So think about it, how even though you may be doing your best, you would be at a huge disadvantage compared to players who do know the shortcuts, who do know how to use the boost, and who do know how to play the game to win. And so I've noticed that many people suffered from basically the lack of understanding of how to play the game of reality right. And so over this past 20 years of me teaching and speaking, I've realized that it affects especially men in our society, because in the Western world and in the male and female psyche in general, the female psyche is more inclined to follow their intuition, go with the flow. And so they're better off, even, during the hardest time, they're better off thinking, okay, how can I navigate it the best? And then they have that inner voice that guides them. Now, for men, it's more about having this specific action plan and a framework to work within. And so because our society doesn't really provide this kind of framework for men, for guys anymore, I've noticed that that was the biggest need. And so this over the years that became more and more of my focus. And I've been teaching and studying in many places around the world, as I said, including Japan and Nepal. I still speak fluent Japanese. Yeah, it's a great meditation tool, because writing those characters really mindfully really helps you calm down your mind.
So let me ask you, why is mental well-being such a critical topic? You touched on it just briefly, the differences with men and women, but why is mental well-being? And there's a lot of, like, I'm into sports, so you're seeing all kinds of athletes starting to speak out about the mental well-being. You can go back to the Olympics when our gymnast withdrew for mental health reasons. And so, but why is mental well-being such a critical topic for business owners? Why should they pay attention to this area?
As we started the show with this quote, we don't have business problems, we have personal problems reflected in our business. And so your business or your performance, your work, your performance as an athlete is an extension of you, who you are as a person. How do you perform on the personal level? And the body, even the muscle work. So, anyone who's in fitness knows about this. Your strength doesn't come from your muscles per se. It comes from your nervous system. And your nervous system is operated by your brain and by your mind. So whatever you have in your mind, in your brain, goes into your nervous system, goes into your muscles, goes into performance. But on the business level, it works this way. If you don't care about your mental health, if your mental health is not in a good place, well, guess what? You're going to feel off. You're going to miss the opportunities that you would otherwise be able to spot. You would not talk to some people in the right way to connect with them and to bring them on board as your clients or your partners. And that is really bad news for your business. That is a very obvious link. So if someone is, let's even just drop psychological terms and talk in real everyday kind of words. If you are sad, you're not the same person as when you're happy and cheerful and excited. So even the change in mood shows you how much it affects your performance. Now, your mental state is something that is more long lasting, because moods come and go. And everyone can get sad, everyone can get happy. But if you are stuck in a certain pattern, in a certain paradigm for a long time, it becomes your belief. It becomes your modus operandi, something that becomes the basis of your functioning in the world. And if that basis is faulty, if you're operating from the faulty premises, then everything that you do, or nearly everything that you do, will just not be hitting the mark, will fall off or fall short your true potential. And because our time here in this world is limited, I know nobody likes to think about it, but let's face it, this is true. So thinking that your time here is limited, what I like to see our efforts as, I like to see them as an investment. And so you want to get the greatest returns from your time and effort investment. So if you are investing in the wrong things or investing in the wrong way, obviously your return would be minimized. And what I'm trying to say is that if your basis, which is your mental state, mental health, if it's not where you optimally need it to function as the best version of you, then what you feel, what you think, the choices that you make, and the way that your life, your personal life, and your business life unfold, it's just not going to satisfy you as a human being. And because our time here is limited, you don't really want to have a suboptimal life and business experience. Would you agree?
100%. And so what are some of the signs, like if I was struggling, I would imagine there are a lot of business owners, and I'm speaking to you with zero knowledge. So I'm going to question as if, because I want to learn. And so, and I
That's
want the
great.
audience to, yeah, and I want the audience to understand, and hopefully we help a lot of people with this show. So if I'm someone in the audience or even myself, how do I know when it's not just a mood? It's not just a passing feeling. What are some of the signs that people need to be consciously aware of?
Right, that is a great question. And I actually, in this book that you mentioned before, I have a whole table that you can do a self check. And there are many positions, but I would say that the most important thing is time. Because if you're in a bad mood, nobody is in a bad mood forever and ever. So
Right.
you're in a bad mood and something nice happens, you get a call from a friend, you sign a new contract, and you're happy again. But if that mood continues over days or even weeks, if you have trouble sleeping, in that you can't force yourself to go to sleep, then you can't force yourself to go out of bed, that is a big giveaway. And another big giveaway that most people don't actually know about is scrolling through social media. And you think, well, everyone scrolls through social media, right? Like, how can that be a really important sign? Well, here we go. So for a business owner, the reason why the majority of people start their business is because they love it. They're passionate about it. They want to make a difference in the world and in their own life. So because of that, think about it. If you're in love with something or someone, you can't stop thinking about it. You just want to be with that person, or you want to keep doing that thing all the time because you're so passionate, right? And
Right.
so
Yep.
if you suddenly, instead of, imagine that a person you're deeply in love with goes, hey, I would like to spend some time together. Let's go on a date. Let's do something fun. And you're like, nah, I'd rather be scrolling through my Instagram. That's weird, right? That's not right.
Yeah.
So it means that something is happening. So if instead of working on your business and be excited about meeting your clients, serving your clients, talking to a team, if instead you actually start distracting yourself with things that don't matter, that is a big warning sign. It means that something in your mind is actually seriously off, because you can't separate yourself from something that you love. And if something does separate you, do pay attention to it. And also changes in appetite, like wanting to suddenly eat too much, more than you typically do, or losing your appetite altogether, because this is how the body responds to the changes in the mind. So if the mind is depressed, if something is wrong, then the body obviously responds with those changes in appetite and sleep patterns, a sex drive as well. Quite often that disappears. So it basically turns down your passion about things, and you feel that you are sliding into that very dark spiral of bland and joyless experience. And when you catch yourself doing that, so it obviously doesn't start like with a flipping of a switch, but once you feel that, okay, so it's been 2 days, 3 days, it's been a week, it's been like 2 weeks now, and it keeps going the same, that is where you should pay attention to it.
You know, I sit here, you're touching on some things, and I've been posting lately a lot about focus, um, eliminating distractions. And I've really consciously tried to, because listen, on social media, everybody is showing their best life, usually, right? Everyone looks like they have no demons. They're battling nothing. Everything's just hunky dory and great. But I can tell you, me personally, I go through, ruts that are more than a mood. You can tell by me, an easy tell sign. You brought up food. My weight fluctuates, not because I get lazy with what I'm doing, but I can tell you, and I guess what I'm going to ask, chicken or egg thing. Which comes first? Is the diet contributing to the rut, or does the rut contribute to the diet?
Right. They feed into each other, but I would say the mood comes first. Because
Okay.
if the mood is more instant. You feel something, it's reflected in your body straight away. Whereas for food, it does take some time, depending on the person, to affect you in a certain way that is noticeable for a long period of time. So obviously the mood triggers some issues and some problems, some tensions, and then you feel like eating something, and then that unhealthy food contributes to the process and makes it worse. So then they become sort of, two parts of the same process. But originally, think about it. If you're in a really, really good place, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, if you're really happy, really fulfilled, would you start eating junk all of a sudden?
Right. No, you're 100% right. And then you brought up the social media and the scrolling. Gosh, talk about distractions. It is very easy if you're not in the right spot and you don't if you're not. So hopefully people watch this all of a sudden when they start doing this, because I would imagine there is a high percentage of people that do this. They just get caught up in scrolling, looking through the reels, doing whatever they can. But some of them are entertaining as heck. But it is a way to distract you from the things that you really need to do, the things that will have that will have the greatest impact on propelling, whether it's your personal life or your professional life forward, right? And so one thing, because part of my job is to be on social media a lot, so it's a challenge for me, because I have to consciously tell myself, Scott, scrolling through this isn't moving you forward. This isn't getting you to your goal. It's not going to help you. And so hopefully people that watch this, they recognize that, because to your point, whether it's food, whether it's all that stuff, it never fulfills you. You're doing it for some type of temporary fulfillment that you think it will give you.
Yes.
But in the end, it never fulfills you. That's why you keep doing it, because it's never enough, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So Sandy Cerami brought up, he's a frequent guest, and he talks about hot yoga a lot. What are your recommendations on that? First off, I got to tell you, I know Sandy, and the visual of him doing hot yoga is not something that I need in my head at 9:30 a.m. But go on.
All right. Yeah, I think yoga and meditation are great tools to keep yourself on track. And mind you, with the latest heat wave, every yoga that we did in London was a hot yoga. And I went to a Krav Maga class last week, and that was a hot Krav Maga class, because we don't have air conditioning in most places here in the UK. But yes, absolutely. Now, with the temperature, you have to listen to your body, though, because this is something that not many people understand. Many people think, okay, every guru out there says that it's good for me, so I should push myself and do it. But if your body says no, if your body says, right, I don't like hot yoga, it's not right for me, listen to that first. So don't listen to the gurus, listen to what your innate intelligence tells you. And by all means, experiment, explore, but don't just go blindly with what people are saying that is beneficial.
All right. So besides business owners, I mean, to me, I know that you're in terms of your business, your target audience is business owners, but who else should be paying attention to this? To me, I feel like almost everybody. I mean, I don't.
Well, of course.
This isn't. Yeah. this isn't just restricted to either men or to business owners, I would assume. I think this show can appeal to just about anybody. But let's switch gears a little bit now. Let's get into the book, The Unbreakable Entrepreneur. More specifically, can you tell us what you mean when you say you can become a more powerful and elite version of ourselves, and be more specific on what you've seen firsthand in terms of how it propels businesses forward or takes them to the higher level?
Of course. So this book is all about helping you map out your journey to the best version of you, so that you can start, even though you may not have a mentor or anyone else to learn from. This gives you the tools that you can use to begin your journey right now. And so the reason why I say become a more elite version of you is because in our lifetime, this is one of our real, true soul goals. We obviously have social goals, like, have a family or buy a new car, start a new business, buy more houses, whatever it may be. But it's really just a reflection. It's the second grade priorities if we are talking about our true inner core. Because as I briefly mentioned before, it's not really just the body that lives this life. We are not just this physical machine of meat and bones. We're so much more. We're also our minds and our soul and that energy that allows us to be alive. And now, because the majority of people up until now prioritized that one part of them, which is the physical part, that means that they don't really live as their full selves. And the way I usually explain it to people is that imagine that you have perfectly healthy legs and perfectly healthy arms, but for whatever reason you decide that, right, you're not using the left part or the right part of your body. That's it. You just function as a half of yourself. Now, imagine in a real life scenario, how much more difficult that would make it for you to function, and how much it would impede the quality of your life if you decided to do so. And people would be like, dude, why are you doing this? This is so weird. Like, walk on both legs, use both arms. It's going to be so much easier. And you would be like, I'm not really sure. Some people say that it's woo-woo to do so. What I want help guys to do, I want to help them become their full selves. And right now you notice, or perhaps you have noticed, that we are evolving as a species because we've entered a new era of human evolution. Some describe it as the era of Aquarius, but the name doesn't matter. What matters is that the quality of time that we live in has changed. And we as living beings exist in time, like fish exist in water. So we live and breathe time. And notice that as soon as we've entered this new era, loads of things started changing, like massively. The idea of how to run your business, the idea of how to express yourself as a human being, but also more and more people started to understand that there is more to life than just this physical reality, and that we should learn to incorporate this spiritual, this divine energy part of us as well, to live as fully, whole, complete human beings. And so in my book, I help guys to understand how to do this, how to connect the two, and how to evolve into this more elite whole version of you. Because what happens is, once you become your both spiritual and your physical self, once you integrate the two, it has a similar effect on your life and your business as though you were only using one side of your body and you suddenly started using both. It changes everything. It creates such a massive shift in your reality. And one last reason why I wrote this book is because I've realized that the majority of schools don't teach spirituality in the way that would benefit men the most. It really is still focused on the previous era mentality. And for those who don't understand, or they don't know about the current era and the previous era, so the previous era had a huge emphasis on the feminine side. So it's more about bending to what is, going with the flow, accepting things, fitting in. So this kind of attitudes, and looking back, you can notice that society as a whole and people on the individual level were following this paradigm. Do what I'm told. And it's still actually a very popular saying in the UK, oh, I just do what I'm told. Now, the new era is very, very different. The new era brings out your personal creative spark. And so the true ideal of the new era masculinity, which changes, by the way, with every era. So before that, there was a knight on a white horse, someone who slayed dragons and rescued princesses. And right now, people are still trying to role play that. They're still trying to follow that old way of masculinity, which doesn't bring them fulfillment, actually, because I see them being still unhappy and in pain after those courses, because what their soul longs for is a full, powerful expression of selves. And the new expression of masculinity these days is being a ruler of your reality, being a creator of your reality, a king in your own world, where you decide how you experience this world. And the only way that you can do that is by integrating your spiritual aspect. So you become, say, a master manifester. And this is why, as soon as the new era has begun, you have loads of like, oh, manifestation secrets, this secret, the famous book and the film that everyone who is into self-development is raving about. But you see what I mean? Those things nobody spoke about before, nobody was interested before. But as soon as this new energy of time came in, and it's forcing us to adjust and adopt. And I know it creates a lot of resistance in a lot of people. So this is one of the reasons why, as a society, we became so stressed and depressed, because depression, pain, anger are all side effects of resistance. So that inner resistance to change and also not knowing what to do is what causing a lot of havoc in a lot of people's lives. And so I wanted to help with my experience and with my knowledge over the years to help guys who want to win in these new times. I just want to show them the roadmap of how to achieve that.